In this video, we're going to look at how to find area with side lengths that are fractions, and it sounds a little bit more difficult than it really is. You're going to do the same thing as what you normally do when you're finding area. Now, we usually have a rectangle, and we'll try to find the area of side lengths. Maybe this side is 4 and this side is 3. Okay, now if we want to find area, we can just multiply one side by the other. The length times width, 4 times 3, and that give me 12 units squared, or 12 square units. Okay, and if I wanted to model that, it'd be pretty easy. I just break this into 4 sections. That's 4 sections right there. And then I break this into 3 sections. And now I can just count and see how many I have all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if I have a side length of 4 units by another side length of 3 units, that's a total of 12 square units. Now, what we're going to do here is essentially the same thing, but it's going to look slightly different. Now, just like we did before with the first example, we multiply one side length by the other to see what our answer was going to be. We can do the same thing here. We can do 1/2 times 1/4 and find out what our answer is going to be. 1/2 times 1/4. Now, when you're multiplying by fractions, it's pretty easy because you just multiply straight across. Let's do the numerators first. 1 times 1 is 1. And the denominators, 2 times 4 is 8. So my answer should be 1/8 unit squared. So let's go ahead and see if that's the answer we're going to get. Now, modeling is going to look a little bit different. Okay? First, I'm going to want to break one side into whatever fraction I have. So let's look at this first side first. I have 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to have to break this section into 2 because that's my denominator, and then I'm going to shade in one of those. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we go. I broke it into 2, and looking at my fraction, since it's 1/2, if I only have 1 out of the 2, I'm only going to shade in 1 out of the 2 sides. Okay, now I'm looking at my next fraction. On the other side, I have 1/4. So just like I broke the other side into 2 because of the denominators, this time I'm going to break this one into 4 sections. Okay, so now that it's in 4 sections, I have 4 rows here, and you can see them. I have 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows. So I have 4 rows here, and I'm looking at my fraction. Since I only have 1/4, I'm only going to shade in one of those rows. So here, let's go ahead and do that in gray. We're going to shade in one entire row. Now, I shaded in my fraction for 1/2, that's in blue, and I shaded in my fraction for 1/4, that's in gray. To find my answer, I have to look at how many of these sections are colored by both gray and blue. Okay, how many are both gray and blue? Well, I only see one section that's gray and blue, and that's this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and write 1. And then now the question is, how many sections do I have all together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all together. So that's 1/8, just like what we got before. Let's go ahead and try another one. So this time we have the fraction 1/5 on one side and 2/3 on the other. So the first thing I'm going to do is break this into columns. And I see, based on my fraction, I'm going to need it in 5 sections. 2, 3, 4. I have 5 sections here. And if I'm looking at my fraction, how many am I going to need to shade in? Well, my numerator is 1, so I only have 1/5. Alright, there we go. 1/5 is shaded in. Now the next fraction tells me that I have 2/3. So let's go ahead and break that into 2/3. Let's break that into thirds. And now what we need to do is shade in 2 of those thirds. Now I have 3 rows here. 1, 2, 3. Okay? And my fraction is 2 out of 3. So I'm only going to shade in 2 of those 3. So here's 1. And here's 2. Now again, the question is, first, how many is shaded in by both colors? 1, 2. There's only 2 squares that have both green and gold in it, so I'm going to write the numerator is 2. And then my denominator is, how many squares are there all together? Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So my denominator is 15, 2/15. And if I were to multiply these fractions, just like, straight across, we should get the same answer. 2/3 times 1/5. Let's look at the numerators. 2 times 1 is 2. And then 3 times 5, 15. Perfect. Checks out. We're going to do one more just to be safe. Okay, so in this last one, we have a side length of 3/4 and a side length of 3/5. So let's go ahead and do, it doesn't matter which one you do first. Let's do the 3/5 first this time. We'll break it into 5 sections. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, I like to double check. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. Good. And now, of those 5 sections, how many do I need to shade in? Perfect. I need to shade in 3 because 3 out of 5 is this side length right here. This side length is 3 out of 5, and that's what we have shaded in. Now, looking at our other length, we have 3/4. So we're going to have to break this into 4 sections. That's half. And then there's 4. So we have 4 sections going here. Let's just check. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. Perfect. So since we have our 4 columns, how many of those 4 columns are we going to shade in? Great. We shaded in 3 out of the 4 columns in all together. So now all we have to do is look and see how many squares do we have shaded in by both colors. Well, I'm looking at this section right here. I can see this section right here is both blue and gold. And there's 9 of them. I can see 3 times 3 is 9. But let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9 that's shaded in by both blue and gold. Now I got to see how many do I have all together. Well, I know this section right here, I know this section that I already highlighted is 9. So let's go ahead and start from 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Looks like there's 20 all together. So my denominator here is going to be 20. So my fraction is 9 over 20. And let's go ahead and multiply just to be safe. 3/5 times 3/4. Let's do my numerators. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 4, 20. Boom, bam, bang. I am done. Looks good. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all there is to it.